Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon Week 2 battle of the GBA Season 9. We took a really tough luck Haxie loss last week against Jolt, but that is in the past now. We are moving forward. We aren't even thinking about it. We have our next opponent and it is Kyle A and the Miami Donphans. If you've never seen him before, go check out his channel. Link is in the description below. He and I have been talking and he's a fun dude to listen to talk to, so definitely go check him out. Great guy, new friend that I've made in the community, and I don't regret to say that we have been, I've had a very good time talking to him on the side. So as it stands, just so you guys are aware, I am doing team builders for this, so I'm not going to be reiterating sets at the beginning, and I'm going to, generally what I do, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you don't know what I do, generally I do a little intro here, then I clip and cut, I said them at the same time. I cut and I start it up when the battle is about to start, so you guys don't really see all the background stuff like you saw last week. That's not very standard on my channel, but I was going over a couple things and Jolt really jumped into the battle, so this week, recording a little bit earlier so that you guys can get this little intro, and we will jump back into the battle. But I will generally tell you guys his team here, because if you don't watch the team builder, you may not know it, and I'm not showing it on screen what I'm predicting him to bring anymore, so I might as well go over really quick what his team is and all that. Still getting used to this format exactly how I want it, but I like this new layout. There's a lot of positive feedback, so I'm really excited that you guys like it too. And so his team is Protean, Greninja, Zygarde 50%, Speed Boost Blaziken, Excadrill, Ribombee, Thundurus, T, Klefki, Mega Blastoise, Celebi, Persian, Alolan Persian, and Swellow, with Thundurus and Persian being his two possible Z users. So that is something to watch out for as the battle progresses. I will get back here, connected with him, and get back here with you guys in a moment so that you guys can check out this whole battle without any more delay. Thank you all so much for checking out the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy. See you in a sec. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to jump in a little earlier than usual. I am so antsy for these battles that I just want to talk to you guys, and I don't want to wait. But usually what I'll do, primarily, I will jump in when it says done, and then I'll jump into team preview and we'll get right into it. I have no idea how long it takes. I don't know whether Kyle does his intro during this screen, which is entirely reasonable. A lot of people do, or if he does it earlier and he's just, putting his mons in the battle box or whatever the situation may be. But we are set to go. I've got my Calyx up on one side. I've got my HP bar up on the screen. You guys can see it. Hopefully, fingers crossed I didn't knock it. I often do and have to fix it, but I won't know until I get into the battle and actually see him on with HP. If you missed the team builder, though, we are bringing some heat this week to face Kyle A, who is the Lord of Heat. I mean, he brings a lot of heat. If you didn't see his week 1 battle, I'm pretty sure he brought a special Dragon Dance Zygarde. So really, once you see a move, you cannot scout the set. You need to see the moves in order to know what he's going to go with. But here we go. We're going to jump right into this. He's done. We're done. And on the bottom screen, bam, you guys are going to see his mons show up. And it is pretty much what I expected, although no Thundy and no Drill. That's actually pretty great. Now, Blaziken is setup fodder for Ditto at the end of the day. So that's pretty cool. No Persian is pretty great too. So we do see the Mega Blastoise. He has no Z users. None of these mons can possibly wield a Z move. And it could be a Scarf Gren. I could see that. If knowing Kyle, it's possibly a Scarf Celebi or a Ribombee. He's going to hate me for having Toxic Spikes this week because every single thing is grounded and everything gets hit by them. And his possible removal is Blaziken, which I don't see. Blastoise, which I do see, but I would love to poison that thing, and Ribombee, which could be as well, but poisoning that thing is also great. Zapdos comes in on the Ribombee, on the Blastoise, and so I think leading off with either my Victini or my Beedrill is probably my best bet to try to see what I can do. I'm going to lead with the Beedrill. If he leads with his Gren, I might fear the Scarf, but honestly, I don't really have a great switch into Greninja right there. So I might just, he might extrasensory with it at that point, but I'm not 100% sure that would be his move. But I do have the Zapdos, which can come in and take a hit if it has to. But I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with the Beedrill lead, and if he goes Gren, I sort of expect it to be Life Orb Gren, honestly. I don't have a great reason for that. If he leads with his Blaziken, I just set up a layer of Toxic Spikes on his obvious Protect, and then switch out into my Donphan, which can tank hits from that thing pretty well. So That's fine. I'm not going to worry too much about Blaziken right now. If he does lead Blaziken, what I'll do is I'll just eventually go Ditto and scare out his own Blaziken. So that's the plan right now. We do have a Quick Claw Ditto, so this game may come down to hacks. Who knows? He actually is going to lead Zygarde 50, and that could also be Scarfed, although I see it being Scarfed less likely than I see the... less likely? That was not English. It is less likely to be Scarfed than the Greninja. 1,000 Arrows could take me out right here. But I think I click U-turn no matter what. And if he is Scarfed, then we at least know. But I could also just go hard Scrafty right here. If he sets up a substitute, that's fine. I get the Intimidate with the Scrafty. I could go Donphan, which can eat hits as well. I'm gonna U-turn. If he is Scarfed, there's a... Even if he's Adamant Scarf, it only has a 25% chance to kill straight up. So we are going to get a Scout on that, and if he does get that roll, then I get a safe switch into Scrafty and get a super free knockoff at that point. So that's fine. And we are going to U-turn. We are going to see that he is not Choice Scarf. And that does a lot. I'm not going to lie. That did a hefty chunk. So he is... That did what, 40? Yeah, we're looking at like 40% there. Okay, so that's probably like max HP, but no physical defense, so very offensive. So I am going to go out into my Scrafty at this point, which was sort of an answer to his Excadrill, but also his Zygarde. If he sets up a substitute here, that's fine. We can break that pretty easily with Ice Punches, and I can pretty freely knock off here. He goes for Glare, so Scrafty is going to be paralyzed, but honestly, Scrafty doesn't care too much about the para, other than getting para-haxed, which is obviously what I am not all about. Now, his only Ice Punch... Well, he's got a few Ice Punch switch-ins. He's got a few HJK switch-ins. So I think Knockoff is my freest and safest play. He could be Yachi Berry, but a Choice Banded Knockoff is going to hit something hard, and getting rid of an item on anything that he wants to switch in, it would surprise me if he goes hard Blaziken at this point. Rabombi from this Scrafty with a knockoff is going to take about 40%, and I knock off a Sash, I break it, and knock it off. If he goes Celebi, expecting, I don't know why you would go Celebi, because Ice Punch is also... If I went Scrafty on your Zygarde, you assume I have Ice Punch. He could set up a substitute, hoping that I get fully paralyzed, but I do break the sub on this Zygarde, and so I think we're going to be okay on that. Unless he's more physically defensive than I'm expecting, and I got a super high roll with my Beedrill. According to this, if he has no item, so he's got an item, but if he's behind a sub, I think I still get the item boosted damage? I actually don't 100% know if I get the item boosted damage there. But the Glare is frustrating, although not the end of the world. Had I gone Zapdos there, that would have been obviously ideal, but I couldn't just go hard Zapdos on a Zygarde. So he's going to switch it out. If he goes Blastoise, he goes actually out into the Rabombi, which is fine as long as I don't get fully paralyzed. Okay, we get the knockoff off, and we are going to see that this does like 50% clean and knocks off the Koba Berry for the flying type attack that I was 100% going for. Okay. So I do have Victini, which is Choice Scarfed, and can take any hit from this thing pretty easily. I also have the Zapdos that can come in right here. Now, he could go Powder, which would be... that'd be some tech right there if he has Powder. But I think if I go Victini here, I'm just going to click U-turn anyway. He could set up Sticky Web, which would be really frustrating. So I think if I go hard Beedrill here, I resist both stabs. He could have Psychic. I don't think he predicts it first turn, and I knocked off his item. I know he's not Scarfed. So, and if he goes Sticky Web, I have the Defog on the Beedrill as well, and I have it in right there. So that's really good because I'll still outspeed everything. And yeah, this week I decided to go Defog on the Beedrill, of all things. I could potentially go with the big play of going into my Ditto right here and getting sticky webs on his side of the field so that they don't end up mattering. But I think Beedrill's the best play here because it threatens the Poison Jab. He actually has no switch into it at all. If he makes this read here, yeah, he just goes straight for the sticky web. So I have the defog on this Beedrill, which I would love to click later. And we know that we kill him with a Poison Jab. In fact, nothing wants to switch into a Poison Jab. The Zygarde, the only thing that can potentially switch into this Poison Jab and resist it, is not going to appreciate Poison Jab plus another U-turn. And so I can just defog here, but I don't think I want to. He's going to preserve this thing. Like, I have a very high hunch that he's going to preserve this thing. And so I'm just going to go for the Poison Jab. Like, what do I lose? And if he doesn't, if he just sacks this thing, that's actually fine. And then I can just defog and my Beedrill. My Beedrill's not that vital to me, although the team he brought, if it's not Scarf Gren, the team he brought, my Beedrill just, like, loves facing. Not going to lie. If he goes Blaziken, and he's going to protect the first turn, I can't defog during a protect. That's so frustrating. So he actually lets this thing just die to a Poison Jab. So we are going to see Beedrill take the first kill with a Poison Jab. So Mega Beedrill kills Ribombee with Poison Jab. Now, he did have the Glare on the Zygarde. If he goes back into it, I might have to switch. My Beedrill can come in later, but getting -1 speed is really frustrating, not going to lie. And so I might just let my Beedrill be glared, and then go for the defog, and then follow that up with a Toxic Spike, letting my Beedrill eventually go down to whatever he decides to go for with his Zygarde at that point. Though the thing is, I can very easily just U-turn into Scrafty right now, which doesn't care about its speed. Donphan doesn't care about its speed. Zapdos doesn't get affected by this. Ditto technically doesn't get affected by this because it takes Sticky Web, then it transforms and it takes the speed stat of the other Mon. So the only Mons that it affects are Mega Beedrill and Victini. And Victini being Scarfed is kind of vital. It is kind of a big deal. But because it's Scarfed, it's still going to outspeed things like the Celebi if he's not Scarfed Celebi, and the Zygarde since we know he's not Scarfed Zygarde. So there's sort of a trade-off there. The only things it doesn't end up outspeeding that it would otherwise outspeed are the Greninja and a +1 Blaziken. So this is the Blastoise, and I have a dedicated switch into Blastoise and Zapdos. Now, if he's Water Spout, wow, then he kills. But if he's like Scald, Scald's not going to kill me. I am going to go for the defog. I'd rather just not have to deal with the Sticky Web. Let him go for the... Let him click this Water Spout and get the kill. Like, really, if that's your play and the expectation is I'm going to click U-turn on this, then fine. But I'm just going to click defog and get rid of the Sticky Web. I don't want to deal with them. And if you go for a Scald, you don't kill me. Yeah, so he does go for the Scald, not the Water Spout. So just don't burn me and we're good. And no burn, perfect. That's amazing. We love to see that. We actually see that it does under 50%. So he is a defensive Mega Blastoise. That's for darn certain. So I could set up a layer of Toxic Spikes, which I actually think is my best play here. He could have the Rapid Spin, but that's fine. I think Toxic Spikes is going to be my best play. This is his only spinner left. That's the other thing, is I might be able to set them up later, but the later I try to set them up, the more things I have to do, you know, in order to make them happen. So, he could just Scald again. If he's just like no special attack, then there's a roll that kills... No, there's not. I live another one, but I do die to a Rapid Spin at that point, or an Aqua Jet, depending on what he wants to go for. So I think I'm going to click U-turn. I don't think I need the spikes yet, and I can just scout that out. Whew. That's huge damage. Okay, so this is a specially defensive Blastoise. That damage was incredibly massive. So I'm going to go out into my Zapdos here. And if he goes for an Ice Beam, predicting that, that's fine. If he gets the burn, that's annoying, but it's ultimately okay. We see that does nothing. He does get the burn, which is eh. I mean, it's you know what it is. Now, U-turn is perfectly free here. I don't see him staying in, even if he's specially defensive. He could be Mirror Coat Blastoise. That would be some tech, but I'm going to click U-turn. I don't think I want to stay in on this anyway, knowing that he's probably going to click Ice Beam. And if he does stay in, I go Ditto. I mean, that's just the play. Every time is just go Ditto. So we are statused up the wazoo, but B-Drill, the important one, isn't. So that's good. And the U-turn damage puts him in range of a Poison Jab from B-Drill. And so if Blaziken, which I assume has to have Protect, now, because he got the burn, Scald plus burn would have actually killed my B-Drill after one layer of Toxic Spikes, but he wouldn't have had the chance to Rapid Spin at that point. But he would still be at full health, so he would definitely have the chance to Rapid Spin, because nothing's going to take this thing out from full. Even a Thunderbolt from this Zapdos is not taking out a Mega Blastoise from full. Now, he didn't see Leftovers, which is going to be something he's going to have to try to figure out what item I am. Maybe he knows I'm... maybe he knows that I'm Assault Vest at this point. He actually does stay in, which is interesting. That does put him down just below half. He's probably going to Ice Beam here. I'm going to go out into Ditto and kind of scout out what you have on this thing and see what we're about here. And then I can go back. I kind of wish I just clicked Thunderbolt, because that would have done a huge chunk of damage. There's the Ice Beam. So we're going to take nothing. And even if he gets the freeze, we can click Scald. We are not choiced, so he's Rapid Spin. So he does have the spin on this. Rapid Spin and Aura Sphere. Okay. And so I could click Aura Sphere. What is your switch into this? Honestly, Scald is my safest play here. But Aura Sphere is the better play, you know? I think he's specially defensive Blastoise. That, or for some reason he's really fast and has no... No, he's not, because my Zapdos has sped. So I think he's specially defensive Blastoise. And we're just going to calc that real quick. We're looking at, like... I'd rather him not burn me with Scald here, you know? So I could go back into Zapdos. Which I think is the best play. I don't really want Zapdos taking all that chip. It doesn't really matter, though. Zapdos is fine to take some more chip here. I could go for an Aura Sphere. He's probably going to go for an Aura Sphere. I'm going to go into Zapdos, and then I'm going to click Thunderbolt. And if he goes Zygarde, he goes Zygarde. He just goes straight Scald to try to get the burn there, which is fine. We're going to see Zapdos go down to about 50%. And at this point, do I want to predict the Zygarde or not? He's probably fearing the Toxic here. He stayed in last time. I U-turned last time. I could U-turn again, but then I'm just risking a burn on Ditto, honestly. Or I can T-Bolt. Does Zygarde kill from 50%? No, it doesn't. Alright, we click T-Bolt, and then we click HP Ice on the Zygarde if he goes into it. Yeah, so he's going to switch out this time. And he goes down to Zygarde. So I could have predicted that, but it ultimately doesn't super make a difference. He doesn't kill me right now with any attack that I'm aware of. This is not one of his Z users, so that's fine. And I'm just going to click Hidden Power Ice at this point. If he does keep pulling switches, then I'm going to have to start playing around that. But we had the chance to kill the Blastoise. Unfortunately, I made the over-prediction. Then he made the right call that I was not going to make the prediction this time, although I was that close, guys. You heard me in the commentary. He could be Yachi, and then he survives. And that's just like a, oh no, he's Yachi, he survives. But I don't think he kills my Zapdos from here. Yeah, he maxes out at 46% if he's max attack adamant 1,000 arrows. If he has like a choice band or something, then he's going to do more. But there's 2 rolls that will kill my Zapdos if he's max attack adamant with no boosting item. And I do have a little bit of speed in case he's slow and was speed creeping me, because he was expecting the Sticky Web to be up. That seems to be part of his game plan, and that's not up. So We do have the HP Ice. If he was just speed creeping Zapdos, then we do outspeed him. If he goes for an E-speed, then there's a static chance. So all good things, all good things. Zapdos going down early is frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. So we actually do outspeed him. We get the Hidden Power Ice. We don't see a Yachi Berry. And Zygarde's just going to go down. So he was slow, bulky Zygarde. So Zapdos kills Zygarde 50% with Hidden Power Ice. And the Heat Wave isn't going to be playing much of a role this game, but that's fine. If he goes Blaziken at this point, I think I just have to sack Zapdos at that point. I just have to U-turn until he does. Do I U-turn or do I just sack? Do I just Thunderbolt, let him like eventually kill me? Now the Zygarde's gone, Thunderbolt spam is just super real. Obviously Celebi can come in on that. If he goes Celebi, I just click U-turn on that. And keep my Zapdos around. Burned Zapdos is doing nothing. Celebi takes 25% from a quad weak U-turn, but I have no attack investment, so that's not too surprising. That's if it's no bulk investment. If he's 252 HP, it doesn't even break a sub, which is pretty wild. So Heat Wave does break a sub, which he hasn't seen yet. So he might go Celebi, go Substitute, and I can click Heat Wave. I think Zapdos has done its job. It's sort of broken down the Zygarde, and the Rabombi's gone. And so I don't know if I super need it for anything specific, but going for like a U-turn against the Celebi as he goes for like a nasty plot would allow, or if he's like Psychics, then I know that he might be scarfed into Psychic and I can go out into my, yeah, so he does go Celebi here. Not the Blaze. Celebi isn't doing much with Psychic. He could Nasty Plot. If he's Nasty Plot, he's not Scarf. I mean, there's no way, right? So I click U-turn. If he's Nasty Plot, then I go into Beedrill. Hopefully he outspeeds me. If he doesn't outspeed me, then I know he's not Scarfed, but I can just go out into my my Victini. If he goes for a sub here, then he's not Scarfed, and I can go out into Beedrill. So I'm just going to go for a U-turn. And he actually doesn't outspeed. And he eats his Tanga Berry. Well, that's the best time to eat your Tanga Berry, because that does 10%. 10%! So we do see berry farmer Kyle over here rocking out with some berries. And I am just going to go out into my Victini at this point. Really no sense in doing anything else. If he rocks out a Shadow Ball and... oh, he's Swords Dance. He's Swords Dance. Okay. So Celebi... okay, he's Swords Dance. So... That's pretty frightening. The Swords Dance Celebi set doesn't really touch Victini, as far as I remember. Now, that's me remembering, so I'm not going to remember, I'm going to check. Celebi's physical moveset, it doesn't get Earthquake, he only gets Earth Power. It could be Seed Bomb, it could have Sucker Punch. What is a +2? It does learn Sucker Punch, so what does +2 Sucker Punch do to Victini? At +2, if you're like max attack adamant. That doesn't Oko Victini. It comes close, but it doesn't. So I actually think my best play is just going to be clicking Blue Flare. And if he does rock out a Sucker Punch here, he does not Oko my Victini. Now, U-turn could have arguably been the better play there to bring him down 50%, but if he has the Recover, then right now he's in range to die, even if he's max HP, max attack adamant. To a Blue Flare, but V-Create is the thing I think he'd be expecting right now. So he could go Mega Blastoise, but that's fine. There's a good chance that I burn that. I chip it down even further, and then I switch out, obviously. I still have the Zapdos in the back, and he is going to switch out. He's probably going to go Mega Blastoise here. Oh, he goes Mega Blazic. He goes Blaze here. That's... okay. So I'm going to click Blue Flare. And that's going to do a clean 60%. We are Scarfed, which means even if he protects, we still outspeed. So I'm just going to click Blue Flare again. And if he protects, he has to hit a double protect here. And he doesn't even go for the Protect. We are just going to be able to knock out the Blaziken with a Blue Flare. So Victini kills Blaziken with Blue Flare. And now he's got a free switch into Gren. He may not know that I'm Scarfed for sure, but I'm certainly not making him think that I'm not Scarfed. And Greninja does take a Blue Flare, obviously, and can fire back with basically anything in the world that it wants to. Now, the Greninja is something that I can handle potentially with the Ditto, but it isn't Scarf Ditto, it's just Quick Claw. Ooh, out comes the Celebi again. I'm just gonna click Blue Flare. I'm not really sure what the play here was. Ooh, he lives that. We don't burn, he Swords Dances. So he really thinks that he's gonna get this Sucker Punch to kill me. But we just calced a max attack Adamant. We know his item was Tanga Berry. Victini isn't required for me to win this game at all. It doesn't really do... I don't have Bolt Strike or anything, so it doesn't really do much. Sucker Punch does not kill. He doesn't go for it. We do land the Blue Flare. Thank God for Victini's ability, making things more accurate. Like, Jesus Christ. I would be missing all of these. Victini kills Celebi with Blue Flare. I would be missing all of these if we're being perfectly honest about it. So Mega Blastoise with Scald that has no attack investment, but all the special bulk, we're assuming. It eats a Blue Flare. It eats it good. It's like nom nom Blue Flare. That's the best lunch ever. He's probably going to Ice Beam. It's a play I feel he has to make in order to potentially win this game. But I don't actually think that kills Zapdos at this point. But Zapdos literally comes in and gets a kill, which is amazing. Whereas Beedrill can take a Scald if he goes for it. It can take an Aura Sphere if he goes for it. It can take an Ice Beam, right? So the other option is going out to Donphan, but I don't think that's a good play either at this moment in time, because Donphan still has a ton of utility to me, being with Sturdy still intact. So it's either just let Victini take the hit, or go out into Zapdos, hope he doesn't go for an Ice Beam. If he does go for an Ice Beam and makes that read, that's fine. I just go out into Beedrill, click Poison Jab at that point, and we just go from there. And he does go for the Scald, so we are going to be able to click Thunderbolt here on whatever he wants to switch into this. He knows I have it, doesn't matter. He's got 2 water types left, and they both die to it. Presumably, this Blastoise might survive on a small amount of HP. That's fine. Zapdos has done everything it needed to do in this game, and that is going to just miss taking out the Blastoise, but we get the paralysis, and he is fully paralyzed. Wow. That's just rude. Zapdos, I'm upset with you for that. I'm upset with you for my opponent. Like, let's be honest. I'm mad at you for my opponent. Alright. So at this point, he could have Aqua Jet. I can just click Thunderbolt again. I mean, Zapdos is going down either way. If he has Aqua Jet, there's nothing I can do about it. But that is... I'm legitimately upset with Zapdos for that. That is not what I was hoping for. Zapdos, this has been not a Haxie battle at all. I mean, he got the Scald Burn, but like that, you know, you get a Scald Burn. But the Thunderbolt para into full para... I mean, I just... Like, some people... And admittedly, there's some value to this and some vice. But some people would would switch. They would. Scrafty comes in on this thing easily. Ditto comes in on this thing fine. Some people would do that. I am not one of those people. This Zapdos should be dead, and I am just going to scout out what item he has. If he is Scarfed, he's going to click something, and he's not going to take Life Orb Recoil, and then I'm going to play around him being Scarfed. But if he Scarfs himself into anything but Scald, basically, then I'm all set. So Frustration is his play. Please, oh Zapdos, if you get the static right here, I'm gonna be upset with you. Okay, okay. And we do see Life Orb. Now he could still have Water Shuriken. To kill my Beedrill from where it's at, he needs... How many hits do you need? He needs a 4th hit, and they all have to be high rolls? Yeah, in order to kill Beedrill. I could go Ditto and just kind of scout out what your set is. I can also go Donphan. Or I can go Victini and just click Blue Flare. If you do have the Water Shuriken, though, that's just kind of annoying. I'm going to go Donphan. Okay, I really want my Endeavor Ice Shard Donphan to work. I really do. Like, I really want it to work. So I'm going to go into Donphan. He's Life Orbed. He's got to have a Water-type attack. Like, he brings me to my Sturdy with Ice Beam, or Scald, or Grass Knot. Like, please bring me to Sturdy. Just don't burn me with the Scald, because then I don't get the fun stuff. He's not going to set up right now. Well, I'm going to click Endeavor. Goes for the low kick. Of course, he doesn't have a Water-type attack. Or he doesn't go for it. That doesn't bring me to Sturdy. Come on. Alright, that doesn't bring me to Sturdy. I'm gonna go for an Earthquake here. That's so upsetting. I wanted him to go for that Water-type attack, bring me to Sturdy. I was gonna Endeavor. I have the Custap Berry. I was going to pop off with the Custap, but instead he's gonna Frustration. So he's fully physical and doesn't even have like Waterfall. We are going to go for the Earthquake, and actually, did you put me under? You didn't. You didn't put me under. I mean, it's not going to... Oh, he is going to survive. You didn't pop my Custap Berry. I'm going to click Ice Shard here, but... Oh, come on! Donphan. Donphan, why did you not? Why did you not take the rolls that would have allowed you to pop the Custap Berry? Ooh, he's got Shadow Sneak. Does this kill? I don't think so. No, it doesn't kill. But that would pop the Custap Berry. So, Greninja dies to Life Orb Recoil. Greninja kills Zapdos with Frustration. And then Greninja dies to Life Orb Recoil. And I don't even get the kill with my... If I had the Custap, I would have gotten the kill myself. But anyway... Kyle is a super cool battler who battles with really wonky sets, and I encourage you guys to check him out. If there's any kind of Mon that you are curious about ways to run it, he's a guy who will show you some unique ways to run that Mon. And I do encourage you guys to check him out. I always encourage you guys to check out my opponents. They're all good people and all wonderful humans to interact with. So I hope you guys are excited. We have picked up a win. After a hacks-filled battle last time, I'm glad to see there was very few hacks. A couple here and there, but very few on the whole. So great game to Kyle. Next week we are going to be taking on Tup and the Pittsburgh Piratas, and we are I am stoked to be a part of the GBA this season. Tup is an in-division opponent, so we are going to have to make sure that we play our best game against him. Hopefully it goes like this one, because this one, the prep really showed and it looked great. So thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all back here next week. Take care, everybody.